Why would the AI king back the old CPU giant? Nvidia just dropped $5 billion on Intel, teaming up on AI chips. They're quietly diversifying away from a single foundry. This move sends ripples through TSMC, AMD, and even Washington. Stay tuned. Big changes are coming in the tech landscape.
So Gary, all right, thing number three. I even lost track. Having too
Yeah.
much fun. But we're talking Nvidia. They're back in the market, or excuse me, on the show, talking with Intel as well in this headline here. Big time partnership sent Intel shares soaring to where if you invested in Intel, I think it was 10 years ago, your shares would be, I think, now worth the exact same. Anyways, Gary, thing number 3 or 4, wherever we're at, Nvidia backs Intel with a $5 billion partnership.
Yeah. So what NVIDIA did here was they invested $5 billion into Intel. They became one of Intel's largest shareholders, a 4% shareholder. And the two companies announced a partnership. They're going to co-develop new generations of advanced AI chips for data centers and computers. The alliance combines, yeah, it's huge. Combines NVIDIA's market. NVIDIA is the market leader by an enormous amount in the AI chip field. Combining that with Intel CPU expertise. Intel is also really good at moving data from one part of the chip to another. And you saw them do that with their Core Ultra chips, which combine a CPU, an NPU, a GPU. So to have this kind of combination where they're going to be NVIDIA is going to be investing in Intel, but they'll be co-developing a new generation of AI-powered chips and CPUs. I think that's really interesting. Jensen Huang noted Intel's foundry business is not yet going to start making NVIDIA's own GPU chips. So that's going to be done in Taiwan by Taiwan Semiconductor. But, for NVIDIA, it also secures a partner to not only provide cutting edge CPUs, it also gives NVIDIA a second supplier. NVIDIA right now relies almost exclusively on Taiwan Semiconductor. And look, for good reason. Taiwan Semi is by far the best chip maker in the world. Intel, of course, wants to have their chips made by the best. But having that much reliance on one customer, particularly one customer in a place that at some point is very likely to be invaded by China, that leaves NVIDIA exposed. And so I think they're looking to reduce their exposure on just one place.
Gary, in the written version of the 5 things, and again, we email the 5 things out via email. Go to our website, give us your email address. We'll fire that over to you on a weekly basis. You'll get that if you're a premium subscriber first thing this morning. That actually hits. But Gary, I was reading through that. And you mentioned, everyone obviously with the Intel stock price and that thing soared and boomed last week. But you noted some things that you were thinking, from an NVIDIA standpoint, right? Some real hidden benefits and just synergies there for them as well. I was hoping you could highlight those.
Yeah. So you know what, Rob? I put one in the 5 things. We'll talk about it in a second. But in this morning's reading, somebody suggested a really interesting other benefit for NVIDIA, which is NVIDIA, their sales are very, very concentrated, right? Most of their sales go to basically the other Magnificent Seven companies, right? It's Facebook and Google and Apple that are buying the AI accelerators in gigantic volume. Okay, that doesn't surprise anybody. But Intel, because they're the world's biggest CPU maker, and particularly in terms of the server market, um, that's a situation where all of a sudden NVIDIA is going to have access to Intel's customer list. And when they put together these jointly made chips, they're not just going to be sold to NVIDIA's customers, they'll be sold to Intel's customers. And that's a much larger list. I thought that was really interesting. Now, the thing that I saw in the deal, which I didn't see mentioned in other places, is President Trump just had the United States take a 10% stake in Intel. And both parties want to see more US tech manufacturing. But think this through for a minute. So President Trump says, okay, we're going to take a 10% stake in Intel. The Nvidia deal sent Intel stock up 25%, making the US government $2.5 billion. That made President Trump happy, made him look really good, made him look like somebody who struck a really good deal, right? Bringing the US a couple few $1 billion of profits. But in addition to that, President Trump wants to make sure Intel doesn't go under. He wants to see more US chip manufacturing. Good for him. I want to see that too. We should all want to see that, right? Everybody on Team USA should want to see more high-end semiconductor manufacturing in the United States. That's good for all of us. But what does what does Nvidia want? They want to sell the Blackwell chips that they're making to China, right? So basically, Jensen Huang now has the opportunity to quietly, behind closed doors, go to President Trump and say, hey, listen, we just made you a couple $1 billion in Intel. We just made you look really good. We're going to be working with Intel and their foundry business to ensure they don't go under and support your goals and your path. Hey, we'd really like to sell these Blackwell chips to China. Is there any way you could approve that? Now, for people who don't like that, and I understand why you wouldn't, and I don't think, US companies should be trading favors like this. We're now seeing corporations trading favors like politicians from different parties do. If you don't like it, it's hard to get mad at Jensen Huang for playing the game, right? Like, this
Yeah.
is how it's played. And if you want to say, hey, I don't like this, I don't want corporations trading favors to politicians, great. That's a valid point. I'm with you on that. Politicians shouldn't be trading favors with each other. Politicians shouldn't be trading favors with NGOs. Politicians shouldn't be trading favors with lobbyists or people who donate money to them, right? This is not the biggest problem we have in
Mm,
government
mm,
potential corruption. And at this point,
right.
from what I can tell, Nvidia hasn't done anything wrong. I'm just pointing
Yeah.
out the
Yeah.
direction of incentives here.
I mean, it's in general too. It's like just where the source comes from. It's like, regulation across what private businesses and this, that, and favors and backdoor deals, of course. But when it's starting at the top levels of government that control all of this flow of communication resources, etc. I mean, it's like, let's really call out, Gary. I love that you're just let's call out the real problem, right? Where it's starting is it's one thing to get corporations in line. Well, yeah, let's get corporations in line. And it starts with the politicians.
Yeah, and by the way, at least this one has some benefits to us, right? When corporations pay lobbyists to go to Washington and bribe a congressman or say, fine, you can't use the word bribe, donate to their reelection campaign,
Yeah,
which,
whatever it's
yeah, all right.
all.
And to say we want favored policy, okay, fine, really easy. We should be upset about that, especially since we don't get anything. At least in this situation, we
Right.
get more Intel production in the United States. Now, if you want to say, okay, it's still sleazy, great. I agree with you. I'm just saying this is the least of our problems when it comes
Mhm.
to government misalignment of actions and incentives here,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Great stuff.
incentives and the interests of the people.
Right. Yeah, for sure. All right. Gary, moving on. This is the Fed agrees with President Trump issue. Thanks so much for joining us. We're live on Gary. I got it firing all over the place now, so be careful. Ever someone's watching, I think, somewhere, or hopefully someone will be watching at some point. But if anyone's out there listening in, give us a like, comment, question you might have. Head over to deepknowledgeinvesting.com. You could submit a question to Gary in the Ask Gary feature, as well as check out all of our different content. Certain content will be paywalled. That's $100 a month. You'll get access to all of our current recommendations, updates, changes to the portfolio, etc., and access to a variety of other content material and features.